going to talk about Standard 7, which states, understand the founding documents and governmental systems of the United States, the principles, ideals, rights, and responsibilities of U.S. citizenship, and the fundamental principles and concepts of economics. So the first part of the standard that we're going to pull from, it says, identify the purposes of the government. And so that sounds like a really long task. So the task below says, explain and understand the different purposes of what a government is and how important it is to different countries, be able to list different purposes of the government. And we need to know all of those things. And right here is a very good paragraph talking about some of the different purposes of the government. The next part says to demonstrate knowledge of the functions of federal, state, and local governments in the United States. So the task here is to research and understand the different governments in the United States, label, explain, and describe their importance. And I think it's important to label and explain and describe their importance. That way you get the full research of what these different governments do. Part C says identify the three branches of the U.S. government and analyze their roles and functions. The task that I took out of there was to research the three branches of the U.S. government and to analyze their roles and functions and identify their importance and role. I think once we identify the importance of these three branches of government, that it will be more relevant to us and we'll see how that fits in. And so these three websites right here are really great for that. The next one says describe various forms of local self-government in the United States. And for the task for that, I put research and analyze the different forms of local self-government in the United States and define what they are and their importance. And once again, I stuck in importance here because I think once you find the importance of these self-governments, then it will really help you to learn this. And these are really great. This last one actually especially is one of the best websites for this standard. The next part is demonstrate knowledge on how laws are enacted and enforced. And the core task here is to analyze how laws are made and how they are enforced. Analyze the process that is done to create a law. And let's see, one of these was this middle one right here. It's for kids, but it really helps you to understand, and it goes in deeper into how a law is created and the process that it takes for them to be enforced. The next part says analyze the political process in the United States. And the core task is to analyze the process of politics in the United States, analyze how politics work in the U.S. And this one was kind of confusing for me at first because honestly it's really hard for me to understand politics, but this first one right here, it could really help you to understand the political process, and it just gives a brief summary of the American government political process thing. The next one is demonstrate knowledge on the democratic principles and values contained in the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. And once again, this is a really long one. And the task that I pulled from that was analyze the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. So I think in order to really understand this part of the standard, we need to read over the Declaration of Independence and read over the U.S. Constitution and find their purposes. The next one is recognize the responsibilities of U.S. citizens, paying taxes, jury duty, voting, and the core tasks that I put was analyze and identify the different responsibilities of U.S. citizens, understand the importance of the different examples that are given, paying taxes, jury duty, and voting. Once again, I put in importance because I think that you should know the importance in order for this to stick. The next one is apply basic economic terms, scarcity, opportunity cost, to analyze contemporary economic issues. And the task that I pulled from that was to define the basic economic words and analyze contemporary economic issues. And the last thing to pull from this standard, it says examine the fundamental concepts and principles of capitalism. And this could be private property, profit, supply, and demand. And the core task that I pulled from this was analyze the concepts and principles of capitalism along with and define the basic vocabulary words. And I really think that the basic vocabulary words for this, like knowing what private property, profit, supply, and demand are, that will be really important to understanding that standard. And that's all for Standard 7.